What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. Hey, in this video you're going to be watching some gameplay that's all on my Sunbreaker, most of it using Hawk Moon, some of it with the Boolean Gemini in the primary slot. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of this footage because I've been getting back into my Sunbreaker of late and playing it quite a bit in 6s. It's honestly quite a fun class to play in 6s, and so I thought I'd share some of that gameplay. But that's what you're going to be watching in the background. But in the meantime, I've had a number of requests, dozens of requests, to hit some of my thoughts on the changes that are coming in the April update here in just a few days. So I will tell you that tonight, Guardian Radio usually publishes their podcast. No, I'm sorry, not Guardian Radio, Crucible Radio. Listen what I mean, not what I say. Crucible Radio usually publishes their podcasts on Sunday nights or Monday mornings. So if you look for the latest podcast tonight or tomorrow morning for Crucible Radio, they had me on the show, and that's all we talked about. So they had me talking about my reactions to a lot of these changes. So if you're really interested to hear my thoughts in depth, you can hear me in dialogue with those guys. Great guys, great thoughts. I had a really good time on the show. So once they publish that, I'll go ahead and re-edit the description of this video and post a link to that specific episode so you can go give it a listen and support those guys. But I wanted to hit some of my thoughts just for my subs here who don't happen to listen to podcasts and all that business. First and foremost, one of the most things that I'm asked about is the sniper changes. And obviously we've got a few changes with the sniper rifles. One of them being that the zoom value is going to be increased, they said, on all low zoom value scopes. Now in the stream they said ambush, short gaze, and long view SLR-10. But since then, they released the patch notes, not the patch notes, but just the summary of what they said in the stream. And in that, they worded it differently. They didn't say the specific scopes. They said all low zoom value scopes. So that would probably include the Still Piercer. That would probably include the low zoom value scopes on the Amalon snipers, like the Falcon. It would probably affect the Defiance of Yasmin, but we just don't know for sure until the patch hits. But my reaction to that, in addition to some of the other changes, like slowing down the amount of time it takes to zoom in. So now it takes a little bit longer to zoom in with your sniper rifle, so quick scopes aren't going to be quite as quick. Now, they said that their goal here, their desired outcome, was that sniper rifles would be used as long-range precision weapons. So it rewards a patient player, not someone who uses them aggressively up close. Now, you guys know that's exactly how I play it. I play snipers aggressively and pretty close to the fray. So my honest reaction to that is negative. I feel like the ability to use the sniper rifle in close quarters is tough. I mean, it's not an easy thing. Some people are good at it, yeah, but it's not an easy thing to do. Consistently, at least. Every now and then you get a nice quick scope, but to do it consistently takes some skill, takes some luck. And I think that the playstyle they're trying to promote with sniper rifles honestly just doesn't play well with the way that the Crucible is set up. The map design favors close range engagements pretty dramatically. So I just don't feel like that plays well with the way that they have the Crucible set up right now. But that's just my opinion. But that being said, I don't think that the changes are too dramatic, and I think that we'll adjust accordingly and we'll be just fine. I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making it out to be, but at the same time, I don't think it was warranted. Moving on to some of the other changes, let me just say this, since my very first thing I said was relatively negative, I will say this. Changes with this update, having watched the stream, I feel more positive about than negative. I'm more excited about. I think it's a net positive. I think there's a lot more good than there is bad. So that being said, I don't want this to come across as a negative video. I'm actually really excited for the update. I think most of the things they showed are highly positive, and really ready to get into this new shift in the meta, so to speak. So more good than bad. So moving on, talk about some of the good. Thorn and Last Word. So Last Word, pretty much the only thing they took away was your ability to 2-tap from the hip. People are making it out to be a bigger deal than it is. The overwhelming majority of your engagements with the Last Word are going to be unchanged. So that's the way that me and some of my buddies have read the patch notes. Doesn't look like a big deal. So most of your engagements will be the exact same. Thorn, they basically just made it so that Thorn, you're going to get killed by the dot a lot less. It's not going to do a lot of damage, so it's going to tick for 2 damage 4 times instead of 3 damage 6 times. It's still going to stack up to 3 times, so you're looking at a total of 24 extra damage if you stack 3 dots, which really, honestly, not that big a deal. So you're going to get killed by the dot a lot less, and they reduce the effects of the poison effect on your screen. So if you get hit with it, it's not going to be quite as disorienting. Good stuff. I like it. Special ammo economy. They basically reduce the amount of ammo you can carry for special weapons, which isn't a big deal. I mean, every now and then you end up carrying 24 rounds for a sniper rifle, and you're not going to use that much in the majority of your games. So honestly, no big deal there. The big change is that now you're going to spawn with special ammo, and the first wave of special isn't going to hit until 3 minutes into the match. So that's a pretty big change. Basically, it's going to remove the ammo cheesing tactics, like using the icebreaker to generate ammo off the spawn at the beginning of the match, and then switching after you die or whatever to get more ammo for whatever weapon you want to use afterwards. It's going to eliminate that tactic. It's going to eliminate the tactic of starting with a sidearm and then switching. So all the ammo cheesing tactics will, be rid of. They said that wasn't their original intent, so they're going to change that. Those weapons are still, icebreaker's still effective. They increased the zoom value on it though, because it had a low zoom. But anyways, so it's going to remove that whole business that's kind of been frustrating over the past few months. I thought it was frustrating and dumb that people were forced to do that. You can never really blame a player for it. If it's a tactic that's available to them, that's really the devs' thing to fix. But I will admit that sometimes it's frustrating because I play according to my own standard that I measure myself against, and I never once use any of those tactics to get ammo. I always just played by the rules that the devs wanted us to play by. And so sometimes it was frustrating to go up against that. I'll certainly admit that's the case. But anyways, I'm happy about that change. So now anytime you switch special weapons, no matter what it is that you're switching from or to, you will always lose all your ammo and you'll have to pick it up off the map. So there's going to be less special ammo available to us during the match. So the idea is that we're going to try and get more primary gunfights in. Is that good or bad? I think that's absolutely wonderful. Great. I'm all about primary gun battles. That's a huge thing. For me, I want more primary weapon battles, and it looks like now we're going to get that. I don't think it's going to be a dramatic change. I think people are looking at it like it's going to be a dramatic change, but it's not going to be. Honestly, it's not going to be a huge change. There's still going to be special ammo readily available. Even in the stream where they showed us the gameplay of those warlocks running around, they almost always had special ammo. Maybe they didn't have much. They didn't have 24 rounds for whatever special they were using, but they still had ammo available to them, and they were using them pretty consistently throughout that gameplay. So not going to be a big deal. Certainly nothing that's going to really shake up the Crucible in a dramatic way. But one of the things that I really want to touch on is the revive system and how that's changed. And I am all about all of these changes to the revive systems. I think this was a fantastic move across the boards. Basically, all the changes that they made took away the ability to use revives as an offensive maneuver. And I'm all about this. I've never thought that revives should be able to be used in an offensive manner as a way of switching the advantage into your favor. You should never be recovering from a death that a teammate of yours has as a way of turning the tables. That should just be, at best, putting it back even, but never giving an advantage. You know what I mean? In revives, you were able to sprint and get a revive if you had the right armor equipped, which was just wrong in my opinion, and it made it way too easy for someone who has an advantage. Maybe they've got an orb locked down and they're trying to eliminate the last player on the enemy team. Guns were not able to kill people as quickly as they were able to get revives. So suddenly now you tried to kill that person, you're at the bottom of your magazine and you're 1v2 and both of your opponents have overshields, damage resistance. It's like, hey, this is not fair. So anyways, I'm all about the changes they made, that now the revives are going to take longer. It's going to take longer to pick someone up. their revive counter is going to be at 7 instead of 5, and then the next time they die, the counter is going to go up to 14 seconds instead of 10. So essentially what this is going to make you do as a reviver is you're going to be a lot less reckless with your reviving, because if it doesn't work, that person is now out of the game for now 14 whole seconds, which is pretty, that's pretty sizable. So you can't just recklessly sprint out for a revive and prioritize the revive in an offensive scenario like that anymore. Another thing that they changed is the radius, that the amount of distance in between you and the orb. You now have to be a lot closer to the orb in order to pick someone up, which I think makes sense. Not that reviving someone from a dead ghost makes sense anyways, but at the very least, it didn't make sense to me that you could reach out 10 feet in front of you and pick someone up. Anyways, this didn't make sense to me. So to decrease that radius, I think was the right call. Now you can't just sit in cover and pick someone up. You actually have to expose yourself in order to pick someone up. So that's great. I like those changes. Overall, like I said, I think this is a net positive, and I'm really excited to see how these things are going to play out. Again, feel free to check out more of my thoughts on this in the Crucible Radio podcast episode that goes up either tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll put it in the description once it's up. Thanks again for stopping by, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the Sunbreaker gameplay, and I'll catch you in the Crucible.